Current issues on the trends in educational technology. Technology is an innovation of humans. So, when an educator can apply technology to teaching, it is also innovative. Educational technology allows teachers to provide multimedia to address diverse learning styles, such as animation, live video, and many more. Besides, educational technology enables teachers to create online courses where students can learn in their own space and at their own pace. Educational technology benefits how teachers teach, both online and offline. Not always having to go to a specific class at a specific time, students can learn whenever and wherever. Educational technology changes the way students approach learning. It makes learning more fun and exciting for students. When we feel engaged in learning, we learn better, remember better, and also apply knowledge better to real life. Technology makes education smarter, more effective, thus satisfying learners' needs more. True educators bring valuable knowledge to learners, both in theory and in real life. But smart educators are those who can create teaching from what learners want to learn. In this presentation, we will be able to identify and discuss the current issues on the trends in educational technology, specifically interactivity in classroom, data management and analytics, and STEAM-based programs. So, let's start. As we can see in the pictures, there are different types of interactivity inside the classroom. It can be in the physical or face-to-face situation, or it can be in an online classroom. Now let's find out what is interactivity in classroom. Across the many fields concerned with interactivity, including information science, computer science, human-computer interaction, communication, and industrial design, there is a little agreement over the meaning of the term interactivity. But most definitions are related to interaction between users and computers and other machines through a user interface. Interactivity can, however, also refer to the interaction between people. It nevertheless usually refers to the interaction between people and computers, and sometimes to interaction between computers through software, hardware, and networks. What is interactivity in classroom? Interactive learning has long been used to improve the learning experience and enhance knowledge retention among students. After all, it has been proven that interactive learning is 6 times more likely to help students learn. While this approach to teaching has taken the form of role-playing, storytelling, as well as peer feedback over the years, it has clearly evolved further at the turn of the digital transformation age. Change in the art of teaching is constant. Yes, of course. In fact, over the centuries, educators have always experimented with teaching, adopting new methods, tools, approaches, and technologies to make it better. All along, educators have tweaked the way information is disseminated in learning institutions to help students achieve competency and match their skills with jobs more effectively. Now, however, boosting student engagement has taken precedence with the learners grappling with distractions aplenty and attention spans taking a downhill trend. Yes, that's very true. Consequently, institutions at all levels of learning are exploring groundbreaking innovations to increase engagement in learning to help students get the most out of every course. I agree with the statements here, right? Because the students tend to focus on other things rather than focusing in their studies. So, it is our responsibility to make them engaged in our class. So, how will we do that? So, let's discuss those interactive learning technologies. We have augmented reality learning, virtual reality learning, increased use of artificial intelligence, mobile first learning, and interactive whiteboards. So these interactive learning technologies will be discussed further later. So as educators, we have to know the interactive learning approaches. Conventional learning approaches, where teachers were the sole players communicating knowledge and enforcing standards of behavior, do not cut it anymore. It is not effective anymore. Yes, today's learners want to be actively involved in the learning process to remain fully engaged in the courses, right? Remember, we are now on the curriculum wherein it is learner-centered, student-centered. The following learning approaches prioritize student interactivity in learning. So let's discuss these interactive learning approaches. The first one, gamified learning. Gamification in learning is a psychologically driven approach for incorporating game design elements in the learning environment to increase students' motivation. So, this gamification or using gamified learning is very effective, especially in primary, yes, in elementary, in lower levels, because it truly increases their motivation. The next one is collaborative learning. It is an approach to teaching and learning that involves small groups of students working together in stations around the classroom to complete a task, or to solve a problem, or to create a product. So, collaborative learning is founded on the idea that learning is naturally occurring social act. Teachers have been using this approach for many years. With technological advancement, however, the type of activities used and tools that facilitate this learning model have changed. Primarily, the advent of virtual communication technology has opened ways for students to collaborate outside of the physical classroom and beyond the school today. So nowadays, we use different platforms. It can be a social media platform, it can be an educational platform, name it. There are some social media platforms, educational platforms, and other video conferencing platforms. The third one is experiential learning. It is simply learning through experience. It focuses on students reflecting on their hands-on experience doing something to gain practical expertise and unforgettable conceptual insight. So, experiential learning exists in a cycle. And also, this approach to learning immerses students in the real-world situations where decisions, behavior, and skills are developed, assessed, and practiced in a safe and controlled environment. The advances in technology have not changed in the stages of the experiential learning cycle even a little. What has evolved is the way students are plunged into real-world scenarios. The fourth one is the social learning. It is the process of learning and acquiring knowledge by observing or interacting with another individual. Educators should endeavor to create a positive atmosphere for learning through ongoing teacher and student connection and collaboration. The fifth approach is microlearning. This learning method borrows a leaf from the concept of chunking. Microlearning or learning in bursts reduces cognitive overload and prevents learner burnout. So this can be implemented in multiple pedagogical approaches, both offline and online, to suit the needs of the modern learner. Besides, it works well across the mediums, including text, video, images, and sounds, and many more. As such, interactive microlearning can be achieved through some of the latest learning models such as video-based learning. So it is possible that in a class, you can apply different interactive learning approaches in different parts of your lesson. For example, you will use gamified learning during motivation. You will use collaborative learning during application, and also the experiential learning during application and practice. Social learning for their advanced studies or in their homework. Microlearning maybe during the lesson proper. Now let's discuss the future of interactive learning. Technology is, without a doubt, is transforming the nature of interactive learning. The inception of interactive learning trends, in particular, has revolutionized learning, and the best is yet to come. Most notably, technology has allowed learning to deviate from the norm, creating an incredible learning continuum between school and home. While the benefits of modern interactive learning are as clearly as day, schools should be bold enough to look beyond the facade. In plain language, there are hurdles such as cost that can impede the proper implementation of these technologies. For this reason, you should prioritize extensive research and practice caution with each interactive learning trend. Keep in mind that your institution's curriculum is unique, and so should be the methods used to drive interactive learning forward. So it always depends on the needs of the school, the needs of the learners, the needs of the curriculum, or on how we utilize this technology into interactive learning. Now let's take a look at what the future could look like for schools that embrace interactive technology. So a school that embraces interactive technology has flexibility with teaching methods. So interactive display technology can allow teachers to think outside the box and integrate more of their creative ideas than ever before when lesson planning. So as teachers, while we still plan and create our ideas, flexibility comes along. There are tools that can allow us to create lessons with mixed media, gamified elements, video clips, and more. And all this with relatively minimal preparation and planning. Okay, so the next one is more engaged students. This is what we want, right? When students can take the ownership of their own learning, they become significantly more engaged in the learning material at hand. So when students learn actively, they can no longer switch off from a lesson because they are forced to engage and they are focused with the material. By using interactive technology in the classroom, we encourage them to be active in their learning. For example, having quizzes in a fun way, games, video content, and other media. The third one is boost student communication skills. Interactive technology can help students improve their ability to communicate both with their peers and the teachers. Students could be encouraged to share ideas or concepts on the interactive whiteboard. For example, in this picture. Or maybe in higher levels, they could even give short lessons or presentations of their own. And actually, nowadays, communication could also go a step further with the use of video conferencing in the classroom or in virtual classroom. Next is offer additional learning resources for fast learners. So in every class, there are always fast learners, right? So interactive technology can make independent learning easier in order for teachers to support the fast learners and workers in their class. Okay, fast learners and fast workers. Well, if students have access to their own devices, a tablet, a laptop, or maybe their smartphones, we can provide additional learning resources or some presentations, some activities or quizzes for students to work through. So in that case, students could be encouraged to explore these materials in their own time. We also have enhanced students' technology knowledge and skills. It is undeniably obvious that the younger generation are much literate or are much knowledgeable in technology than us, the teachers, right? So we have to make sure that before we teach our students, we practiced it already, or we mastered it already. So one of the biggest benefits of the interactive technology is it allows us to enhance students' knowledge of technology through active daily use of it. So for example, teachers could demonstrate how to use the internet for research, or to demonstrate how to find online resources, how to differentiate between reliable and unreliable information, how to identify the fake news or the real news, just like that. And the last one is addressing a classroom's unique needs. Interactive technology is evolving all the time. It adjusts depending on the situation. Benefits of interactive technology are vast, but it's important to remember that each school is very different. Each school is different. Different in needs, different in strengths, different in weaknesses. So the administrators or maybe the school heads should know how interactive technology could benefit their teachers and learners. So this is an example program that promotes interactivity in classroom. It is the DepEd Computerization Program, or what we call DCP. It aims to provide public schools with appropriate technologies that would enhance the teaching learning process and meet the challenges of the 21st century. The Department of Education identifies the schools that are in need of this technology that meets the challenges of the 21st century. There are schools that receive tablets or textbooks. Some are in computing, or what they call the multi-computers. Some schools receive projectors and some receives smart TV. They also provide trainings for the teachers that will handle this DCP package. So in these pictures, we can see the elementary students enjoying their dance, maybe their morning routine, using this interactive whiteboard. The other picture shows that the learner is connecting a bone to another bone. Right? Okay. And the other pictures are teachers who use this whiteboard or interactive whiteboard in delivering their lessons. So there are interactive learning pros and cons. So let's identify. Of course, the upside of interactive learning are self-learning, communication skills, and creativity. How about the downside of interactive learning? We have personal adaptation challenges. Yes, that's true, especially if it is new to you, right? If technology is new to students. Another one is teacher's skills. If the teacher is not well trained in using this kind of technology. And the third one is psychological discomfort. At first, students might feel discomfort in using this kind of devices. It's activity time. So as you can see in the screen, you have to choose, decide, pick, and select. Okay, so choose a grade level with corresponding subject matter from grade 1 to 12. Then after that, plan to use interactivity in the lesson. So how and when will you facilitate the learning approach that we have discussed? Will you use some approach in the motivation part, in the lesson proper, in application, evaluation, or in the assignment? You can use 2 or 3 interactive learning approach to deliver the lessons based on the grade level or subject from the previous slide. Okay, so let us have our health break. Another trend of educational technology is data management and analytics. So managing data has become so convenient and important with the advent of technology in the education system. Teachers can now have complete analytics of a student's performance, such as number of tests attempted, chapters completed, and many more. Homework and assignments can be assigned to the entire class at once, and teachers can evaluate the results online. Do you do this, teachers? Me, I do this. Okay, so this kind of automation in classroom activities has enabled teachers to focus more on their course modules and offer in-depth guidance. Analytics has become an important part of any online learning model as it enables the measurement of a child's engagement and academic performance. According to the data available, teachers can develop action plans to improve students' performance. In case the data reveals a collective issue or a troubling pattern with an individual student's performance, it can be highlighted and appropriate measures can be taken. The remote monitoring of students' activities enables teachers to offer personalized training if required. All these factors have contributed to making the data management and data analytics an important part of education. So being an educator is not just about to deliver the lesson. It is also our responsibility, our role to monitor our students' academic performance. So how do we manage? How do we analyze things about our learners' performances? We also need to collect data. So how do we collect our data? Is it very manageable? Is it organized? Does it provide the needed information? Okay, so let's proceed. What is big data? Big data refers to the massive amount of information that we create on a daily basis. So since students, teachers, and administrators leave an endless trail of data throughout their time at the school, so this information can be used to gain insight into the performance, both the higher level and the granular level. Let's imagine from the first day of the school year until the end of school year, how much data we gathered, right? Different types of data. It can be an information, it can be grades, it can be some educational resources, reports, and many more. How educators can use big data? Data has been around long before computers, but technology has certainly accelerated the amount created every day. With mobile devices, the Internet of Things, the social media, and other sources of information, we generate at least 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every day. Imagine that. Not just a million, but a quintillion bytes of data every day. Yan. Sabi nila, kaka-cellphone mo yan. Right? Okay. So, clearly, this incredible volume of data is too complex for traditional tools to capture, store, and manage. That's where a data management program comes in. The right software will aggregate all of your necessary data sets and compile them in an easy-to-use, easy-to-understand dashboard. How about you, teacher? What kind of software do you use to manage all your data? Educators, administrators, and stakeholders are leveraging data analytics programs to identify institutional problems and spot opportunities for positive change. So it is not only us educators. We must involve the administrators, stakeholders, and decision makers in analyzing this data to see the problems or to make opportunities for positive changes. Now let's remember, the benefits of big data lie in how you use it, not how much you have. So, if the district supervisor asks for some data or for some information, you must give the right, the correct, the accurate data because it can be a basis for better opportunities or for positive changes. Now, let's talk about the Database Management System or the DBMS. So, it is a tool for organizing data. Most learning institutions use spreadsheets or Excel programs to manage or organize data. How about you? What do you use, teachers? However, as they grow, they must have dedicated and in-house data management systems. Learning institutions should take advantage of data management to improve productivity. So here are some popular DBMS and some systems used in DepEd which holds big data. Are you familiar with this popular database management systems? So we have Oracle Database, MySQL, MongoDB, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL, Microsoft Access, IBM. Well, in DepEd, we use different websites or database system depending on the purpose. For example, the DepEd Partnerships database system. So in here, only the school heads or the bosses can open this system for partnership programs. We also have the DepEd Commons, wherein teachers and learners can access different learning materials from different divisions all over the Philippines, as well as the LRMDS, or the Learning Resource Management and Development System. But in LRMDS, only teachers can access this. Comparing to DepEd Commons, teachers, contributors, and learners can access DepEd Commons. But in LRMDS, only educators, teachers, and school heads can access this using DepEd account. So we can download learning materials here, video materials, lesson plans, and many more. And we also have the Learners Information System. With LIS, we can identify learners who are currently enrolled or transferred out because it holds the information of all the students in the Philippines. Just a trivia, LIS just started in 2011. So if you graduated from 2010 backwards, your information when you were a student in basic education will not be found in the LIS. So kaway-kaway mga Gen Z. All right. So here are the benefits from data management and analytics. Number 1, it helps you find answers to hard questions. For example, you have given summative test to your students. And then, you have this form, the item analysis. You found out that there are numbers or items that seems to be difficult for the students. So, using this data management and analytics, using the Excel form or your item analysis tool, you will be able to adjust or identify the cause of the difficulty. For example, the next time you give that summative test, you already revised the question, the set of questions where the students have difficulties. Alright, number 2, it's accessible. Yes, of course, the Department of Education makes it easier for us to access different kinds of applications and tools to be used in management or managing data and analyzing data. Number 3, it can save costs. Number 4, it's quick. Yes, quicker than ever, especially when you are preparing your class records, if you are preparing for the school forms, right? Number 5, it helps you adapt. Ayan, sabi nga nila, sa una lang mahirap, pero pag sanay ka na, mabilis ka na. Yakang-yaka mo na. Now, here are some application softwares that can be used for effective data management and analytics. So, we have the G Suite for Education Core Services. In DepEd, teaching and non-teaching personnel are given access to G Suite for Education. So, we have the Google Classroom, Gmail, G Drive, the Calendar, Vault, Docs, Sheets, Forms, Slides, Sites, and Hangouts. How about you, teacher? What G Suite application do you use for your data management and analytics? At dahil love na love ng DepEd ang teachers, they also gave us access in Office 365, the Microsoft Office. Kaya kapag tinignan mo yung cellphone or laptop ng teacher, Punong-puno ng mga apps na yan. Okay. Activity time! You will share a data management and analytics that you use. It can be a classroom-based or school-based. It can be a website, it can be an application tool, it can be a productivity tool, like the applications that were mentioned earlier. Or if you have some softwares to share. Break time! And now, we will discuss the STEAM-based programs or the STEAM education. What is STEAM? STEAM is an educational approach to learning that uses science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics as access points for guiding student inquiry, dialogue, and critical thinking. The end results are students who take thoughtful risks, engage in experiential learning, persist in problem solving. Remember, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics combine subjects known to increase critical thinking and problem-solving skills through unique hands-on learning opportunities. STEAM programs, above all, ignite the curiosity innate to all students and encourage them to see their own abilities to innovate and solve problems in real time. STEAM empowers teachers to employ project-based learning that crosses each of the 5 disciplines and fosters an inclusive learning environment in which all students are able to engage and contribute. As opposed to traditional models of teaching, educators using the STEAM framework bring the disciplines together, leveraging the synergy between the modeling process and math and science content. Okay, so for example, in order to blur the boundaries between modeling techniques and scientific or mathematical thinking. Through this holistic approach, students are able to exercise both sides of their brain at once. Okay, so when they say you are good in science and math, you're not good in arts. If you are good in music, you're not good in language. But having STEAM-based programs, their skills in different areas will be combined and enhanced simultaneously. In fact, beyond the classroom, both scientists and engineers use models, including sketches, diagrams, mathematical relationships, simulations, and physical models. So, to make predictions about the likely behavior of a system. So, they also collect data to evaluate the predictions and possibly revise the model as a result. However, many engineers are not particularly comfortable with sketching. So connecting them with basic artistic skills through STEAM and equipping them to better see their ideas can help them become better engineers. Okay, so what are the ways or some strategies to enhance learning through technology using STEAM-based programs or STEAM-based activities? The first one, we have the online interactive learning. Next, simulation, augmented reality and virtual reality, game coding, robotics, artificial intelligence. You can use these strategies, but it's not just limited to these approaches. So, an example in online interactive learning. The teacher delivers his lesson through a virtual field trip. Yan. So, nandun siya sa museum ng NASA. Another approach or strategy is simulation. It is believed that using simulations in the classroom can help improve learning. So, for example, in virtual dissection. So, instead of getting a real frog, they have used a virtual dissection in taking something apart for the purpose of examination. Yan. If you want to experience this virtual dissection, you can go to dcc.ilc.org. The next one, we have the augmented reality and virtual reality. With this immersive learning technology, students can learn new concepts easier And this method of learning is proven to improve test scores. So, augmented and virtual reality will be discussed further by Ma'am Joy. Now, let's proceed to the next one. Game coding. Video games can enable STEAM education from elementary all the way through college as they teach skills such as analytical thinking, multitasking, strategizing, problem solving, and team building as well. Because traditional learning has provided superficial learning through books, games are best at teaching a deeper level of learning. So some examples of game coding are Minecraft education, Roblox education, and also the codecampworld.com. Okay, if you want to try it, you can search for it and maybe you can use it in some learning competencies in your subject areas. Next, we have robotics. Educational robotics teaches the design, analysis, application, and operation of robots. So, the difference between game coding and robotics, game coding only focuses the output inside the computer. But robotics, it has an actual hardware that you operate. Robots include articulated robots, mobile robots, or autonomous vehicles. It can be taught from elementary to graduate programs. Robotics may also be used to motivate and facilitate the instruction in some foundational topics such as computer programming, artificial intelligence, and engineering design. And the last one, artificial intelligence. It can help students learn better and faster when paired with high-quality learning materials and instruction. AI systems can also help students get back on track faster by alerting teachers to problems the naked eye cannot see. So, with the use of AI, students now have a personalized approach to learning programs based on their own unique experiences and preferences. AI can adapt to each student's level of knowledge, speed of learning, and desired goals so they're getting the most out of their education. So an example application that can be used is Seek by iNaturalist. So with this application, students will go outside, explore, and learn about the nature. For example, there is a butterfly. So they will open the application and then they will take a picture. And that application, using the artificial intelligence, will identify what kind or type of butterfly it is. Another example is the Google Lens. It can identify things just by focusing the camera to the subject. And that's it. So it's time for activity. Questions? What STEAM-based program would you like to try in your class? What equipment or tools do you need? Current issues on the trends in educational technology. As for my conclusion, technology has influenced almost every facet of society, especially the education industry. In the present times, students prefer to boost their skills and knowledge by staying connected to the internet at home instead of spending time in the classroom. This further transforms the way of interaction among students and teachers. So, students in the future will learn with modern study tools that can easily adapt to the students' learning abilities. It clearly means that even a weaker student will be able to receive challenges based on their skill level and they will be encouraged to achieve higher levels as well. The educational technology will help students gain confidence while improving their academic abilities at all levels. Current issues on the trends in educational technology. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Arigatou gozaimasu. Bye!